I would tell her to not go shopping. I would tell her not to go into a store and think it's magically going to jump out at her and she's going to go buy 3 pieces and it's all going to change. I would tell her to save her money. I would tell her to sit down, and I would ask her, or I would suggest to her to ask herself how she wants to feel and how does she want to look, and focus on that and get some images together of how that looks.
Hello, and welcome to The Riley June Show. I'm your host, Riley June. On this podcast, you are going to hear weekly episodes from myself or awe-inspiring women taking charge of their reality in all facets of their life. From going back to the basics of holistic health and healing, increasing our financial IQ, motherhood and the dynamics of all that's involved, and equally entrepreneurship, building businesses and running them full-time with our families in tow. This is an all-encompassing podcast for women who value family, healing, and overcoming their inner child wounds and thriving in their lives. I have had the honor of serving hundreds of women across the world over the past half a decade in their self-led healing journeys, as well as startup coaching and spiritual businesses, from technical skills to business knowledge online. It is a passion for me to provide a space where you can come to gain the insight, knowledge, and tangible actions that will help you genuinely move forward and thrive in your life and business now. Here we value ethical truth, biblical truth, and integral truth, ensuring everything we do is done with the best of intentions, the purest of heart, and always inclined to pleasing God. Join me every Monday to laugh, learn, resonate, and know you truly are not alone. I can't wait to share this weekly podcast with you. Are you ready? Let's dive in. All right, you guys, we are going to dig into a very special guest today, an episode that you wouldn't think would have such an impact on our wardrobe. But the correlation between our wardrobe, in which Katie is going to lay out today, and our personal growth, the way we view ourselves in our lives as a mom, as a woman, in business, absolutely correlates. So I'm really excited to share in this episode today with you guys and Katie and her expertise. And before we tune into this episode, I want to take a moment to introduce to you the Aligned Entrepreneur Mastermind Program. This is an industry cutting edge program that I've been designing over the last 2.5 years. And many of you who listen to this podcast have actually been in the program itself, which is so much fun. That it's so great to see when you put something out into the world that people not only really enjoy it, but get so much value out of it. I designed this mastermind program for 2 reasons. The first one being is that entrepreneurship is very lonely. It can be a very lonely game when you get stuck in your head and you don't know what to do, and you have all these hats that you're supposed to wear and learn along the way, especially in your first to third year of business. You realize that when you take on the role of, okay, I'm going to offer a service, okay, I'm going to help people change their lives, that there's so much more involved in it than just like, I'm going to tell people that I offered this. There's payments, there's legalities, there's landing pages, there's program development, there's email list building, there's community growth. All these things are absolutely necessary for that long-term goal and sustainability of, one, insulating your family, your life with an additional income stream, and then 2, building something that will last the test of time. That isn't just going to be this, 1 month thing, 2 month thing. Going into entrepreneurship, I think a lot of people get really caught up in the ads of make $1 million overnight and you could travel the world with your family like I do. When a lot of these people have been doing this for years upon years upon years, honestly, most of the time decades. And they learn a lot along the way if they're not immediately investing in high-level containers and programs where that person is going to get them directly there. So I created the Align and Ascend Mastermind program, and it's a mastermind program for this reason. The second component of it is so overwhelming to need to know all the things, but have to go to so many corners and places and experts to be able to find the information. So I created this mastermind program, which was a space that I wish I would have had in the beginning that is wildly affordable, where you can tune in to not only the networking component of connecting with other women who are building businesses online, who are like-minded, who love what they do and want to know how to do it more efficiently and effectively, develop those personal skills as well as those business skills, but also be able to have those industry leaders in the space that they don't have to go and invest more money into other places to get access to. We have guest experts in this program, such as Carissa Johnson. She is a female empowerment leader and does tons of, those, if you've ever seen those seminars where there's like really big names like Les Brown and now all of a sudden all the names are escaping me, but big, let's say LA style Hollywood names in the personal development world. So she hosts a lot of these things with the LA Tribune. So not only does she lead women through that self-empowerment journey, but she also takes that industry expertise to bring it into what it takes to truly be a leader in your work, in your world. So you have guest experts like that. You have Justin Buonomo, who is a financial expert, the founder of Just Financials Foundation, who talks all about making more money in your business and some of the core pillars that you need to address first beyond even just a strategy. We have Christina Sutra, who is very popular on Instagram for all things painting and art and self-development. And so she comes in to lead a feminine empowerment exercise with you guys in the program. It is there for your viewing, and just tons of other really great people, from branding experts to leadership experts to manifestation experts to, oh my goodness, business experts, money experts, literally all the things you could possibly need is all accessible in the mastermind. So not only do you get access to all these incredible people, but then you also get to experience the knowledge and the skills of building a program, building an online or an email list, creating your offers, branding yourself, these things that you need to be able to get you to that place where you feel at peace with what you're offering, where you're making money in your business, where you have the financial literacy and income to grow in your skills, in your development. You see, we all go into business for the reason of most likely, or more often than not, because we want some kind of time freedom. We want to be able to experience our family more and to be that stay-at-home mom and to be able to help people. Somebody once upon a time helped you. They took those brave, courageous steps and they stepped out into the world and they offered something online, and you along the way came across it, maybe even were helped by it, and realized that you wanted to do that too. And so being able to actually create something that is not only just requiring you to be on the computer 24/7, we teach you how to not do that in this program, but equally develop the skills to be able to guide people through that transformation. You see, the people who make all these millions of dollars that you're advertised online are people who have the skills, who have the knowledge, who have the access to not only just the trainings and the teachings, but to the industry leaders and experts and other people who are doing these things too. It is so fascinating to me how many times I've been stuck in a mentality of I need a strategy, I need a strategy, I need a strategy, when the only strategy I really needed was to get myself into rooms and containers and programs where other people were doing something similar to me, entrepreneurship period, and how much they were then able to help me in ways that I would have never anticipated or understand until I started subjecting myself to other people doing something different, changing the world, being a world changer. So this program is an opportunity for you to dig into not only at least 100 plus hours of trainings and teachings for whatever you may need. It's all categorized for wherever you might be in your business. but also to join us for monthly guest experts and networking experiences so that growing your business online isn't hard, so that taking your clients from a breakdown to a breakthrough isn't hard. You know what to do, so that when your clients are in struggling bouts and periods, you equally have the legalities to protect yourself and them if something were to happen. You see, these things aren't thought about oftentimes when you're in your first or third year of business, and sometimes even your fifth year of business, coming up upon that 5-year point. You have something that's been working for some time, and now you either have the same audience, so your sales are getting stale, or you have the same people that you're talking to, and your growth and thinking out of the box of where you are isn't necessarily happening for you anymore. Your creative juices seem to be stagnant. This is the program where we keep it fresh, we keep it light, we keep it powerful and impactful, and are constantly allowing you to grow and evolve. So we are going to be opening up enrollment. If you're listening to this podcast, you can get access to enroll now. We have some incredible guest experts that we're going to be dropping here in the next couple days for April. But otherwise, I'm not going to be launching this on social media until the third week out in April. So if you're hearing this and you're in a place in your business where you're looking for support, you're looking for growth, you're looking for sales, we have Jillian Murphy, the sales queen. Literally, she made almost $750,000 in 18 months in her business, from going from 22 years in corporate sales to starting up a coaching business and sales online. Like, these are the people that you are getting access to. You can get access to this now. So I'm only going to be talking about it on the podcast until we do our hard launch in April, end of April. And also, launches are things that you learn about in the program too. So if you feel like you're just throwing, for lack of better terms, shit at the wall and nothing's sticking, or you're only getting 1, maybe 2 signups, if even any, this is going to be the place you want to be, because these are principles and trainings that you can come back to time and time again. They are truly timeless in their field, and it's only going to help you to grow. So I'm going to turn this interview over to Katie. And if you are someone who is looking to become more magnetic, one of those places that you're going to want to start is your wardrobe. All right, without further ado, here is our Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another session. I am very excited to have Katie Watford here with us today. She is your celebrity style coach, and we're going to jam on all things wardrobe. So, Katie, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Riley, for having me. I so appreciate it.
Yeah. So we had the opportunity to jam out on your story. But I'd love for you to just give us a little bit of insight into what you do today. And then I have some wonderful wardrobe questions for you.
Sure. So I am a former celebrity fashion stylist, and now I am a style coach. So I help female entrepreneurs brand their image so that they can get dressed in 5 minutes, and create a client magnetic wardrobe that really gives them their signature style through branding.
I love it. So for you taking, you're working with big caliber names and all that encompasses, what made you decide that, okay, they've got this figured out, I need to bring this knowledge to all my other fellow ladies who are struggling to get dressed in the morning?
Well, Riley, it's an interesting story because it was like I was learning specific branding, like how they brand in the entertainment business in Hollywood. And I was still a personal stylist working with women executives in the studios. And so I was always 50-50 in both worlds, but I will say I wasn't, my soul was not feeling 100% in the business, in styling for celebrities. It was very stressful. It was a lot, but obviously I learned a significant amount. So I started to really start to think like I need my own business, like brand, and I've always loved working with women. Like I know how to work with women. It's not when you're working with real life women who have jobs and mothers like what you're doing right now, juggling 1,000 things, right? you've got to know how to really work with them to not only educate them, but also build up their self-esteem and confidence, because I've been in the room with some powerhouse women. I have been in the room with women who have just come out of being homeless. You still have to really know how to talk to women when you're talking about how to dress themselves and develop their style. And that was what I will say. And honestly, I don't think I've ever explained it quite this way on a podcast yet this year. So this is exclusive for your viewers. And I will say it's not done on a surface level or a superficial level. It's really getting down to women and helping them understand how to do this for themselves on an emotional level. So that way they can start to understand the creative steps, because the creative steps then can be much easier to wrap your head around. But there's definitely an emotional layer to this entire process. And that's really where God has given me my gift, is to relate to women that way, outside of all of the fancy, fabulous things that I have learned in LA, is that I get to nurture women in this process. And it's a great thing that I absolutely love and honored to do, that I just intuitively know how to do, because women like yourself are so busy nurturing the homes and your businesses and your clients. And so this is like a really wonderful process where they get to kind of let their guard down and really explore who they are and grow to the next level.
Oh, I really love that. And I have so many questions that have come up, because there's something that you touched on where it was like, it's really about an emotional element to branding and styling yourself. And whether you're, the stay-at-home mom or you're the busy entrepreneur, there's an element of all of us who want to feel good. And naturally, one of the ways to do that is how we get dressed and how we show up in our day-to-day. And so I'd love for you to just take a moment to jam out on okay, let me backtrack a bit. I watched a story of yours a couple weeks ago, and you were talking about how one of your clients, when you really got down to the nitty gritty of it, the reason that she struggled to get dressed in the morning was because of her body issues that she had with her weight. How often, I know this is an obvious or a loaded question, but how often do you find that plays a big role in people's lives when it comes to their wardrobe? And what is 1 to 2 things that they can do to really overcome that?
So body image and body perception is one of the biggest blocks that gets in a woman's way from actually taking action. And I will say 95% of women that I talk to always bring up their weight. Even women who you wouldn't think bring up their weight. Everybody brings up their weight. So I am not in the business to convince somebody that they need to do this. That is not at all. This is a woman has to be ready to look in the mirror and start to put herself, and I'm careful how to say that, but you do have to take care of yourself to go take care of others, and you do have to, there's certain things you do have to do to make sure that you're mentally there doing it. And this is one of those things. And so if a woman is making a lot of excuses for regardless of where she's at with her body, with her weight, then there's only so far she can go. And so if she might not be ready for a full style transformation, or not even style transformation, Riley, I would say, just learning how to nurture herself. Maybe she nurtures her kids and nurtures her business. And that's a different process that a lot of women are not used to doing, because they're used to taking care of everybody else. And so it's a beautiful growth process for her. And so if a woman is wanting to start to learn how to do that, it's definitely a step would be giving herself you definitely have to start to put in some you time into your schedule, even if it is just a simple, and I know this doesn't have anything to do with, I was going to go say do a walk, but that doesn't have to do with wardrobe. Here's one thing that I shared on a previous interview was, if you're working from home and you're in your sweats and your leggings and you do that 5 days a week, then your weekly goal can be to do it half that. And that is moving the ball forward, because that is helping you get out of the easy leggings and the easy uniform and actually pushing you just even to get into jeans. So that is one simple step that someone can start to implement this week.
I love that. And I can definitely attest to that because that was me. It's really easy to get comfortable in your own house or, dress your top up and keep your pajama bottoms on. But then there just like in all of what you're saying, there's also a frame of mind that goes behind that where it's you don't feel like you need to or you're worthy enough of it or that you know what you're doing. And it actually goes into and spills into effect all other areas of your life as well for how you show up for your health, your finances, right? It's that half in mentality. So
Right.
when you say that you have to be ready to go all in, like you have to be ready for that transformation, it really is true. No
And
one
I want
wants to be a part of this too.
I love it too. And I just want to take his cheeks and I wish the audience could see him. And every time you do him on your Insta story, I'm like, give me those cheeks. You know what I mean? Like he's just got such the best little chunky cheeks that you just want to like, he's so cute.
I love it. I actually, go ahead.
Let me say this though, right? So I had what the client that you brought up, like she's struggling to because of her body weight, right? To do this. And so she's at a different place than a lot of my other clients. And so I did say to her, I did say, I want to commend you because a lot of people do make excuses before they actually do it. And even though we really customized her style transformation process for her. So just even getting her some on-camera outfits so she feels comfortable just doing some Zoom stuff and then getting 1 to 2 outfits for when she's in real estate. So just to go out there and do that alone is still a big step for her, a big jump. And that's her going all in at this level. And she's not making excuses. So sometimes people think, well, I'm not ready because I'm not ready to go all in like that. It still is. I said to her, you are doing something that a lot of other people make excuses about. And that shows how much you're a go-getter and really striving to push this to your life to the next level. And I wanted to applaud her and commend her for that. And, it is about getting the ball going, even if everything isn't perfect, because that's actually how success really works. That's how growth really works. There's never a perfect time. It is time when you just finally like, it's time for me to start putting me more in this equation to really take my life and business to the next level.
I love that you went back and addressed that because in anything, it really is about taking those steps. And as long as you're willing to take those steps and address what comes up along the way, you really, truly do get to that point of full transformation, no matter what it is that you're working with. So I love that you came back and you prefaced that because even for me, postpartum, it's hard you think, I just had my baby, it's going to be all good. But then there's a whole nother layer of, when you're in the clothes that's too big or you can't get into the clothes that's too small. And then equally when you're running that business online. Okay, we have a few more minutes left till the meltdown. But I was just saying how even like as an entrepreneur online, it takes time to get to adjust to your new body. Even if you do lose weight and you get to that ideal weight and you're ready to go and get all the clothes, you're not always in the mind frame to actually feel good in this new size that you wanted to be in.
Yeah. A lot of women, I work with a lot of women through a weight loss transformation. Some women have gone from like a size 22 to a size 14. I've done quite a few of these, and that is not where we are really doing a deep dive of looking in the mirror of like, because they're like, I've never been in this type of shape and size before. And so it is them doing a new self-discovery process. And so even if it's that amount of sizes or even one size, it still is like you're learning something new about yourself because you're in new skin. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so I have 2 final questions for you. The first one is for the woman who's tired of getting up and being like blah to her wardrobe every day, what is 1 to 2 tips that you would give her to really start spicing up her experience of getting ready in the morning?
I would tell her to not go shopping. I would tell her not to go into a store and think it's magically going to jump out at her and she's going to go buy 3 pieces and it's all going to change. I would tell her to save her money. I would tell her to sit down and I would ask her, or I would suggest to her to ask herself how she wants to feel and how does she want to look, and focus on that and get some images together of how that looks.
I love that. Simple, effective, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money.
Anybody who comes into my world and we start working together, we don't jump into shopping, because that's what women do, is they go into the store or mall and they think like it's all of a sudden just gonna, that's actually what's working. That's adding to the problem. And it's just like what you do, Riley, where you do transformations. It's like resetting things first. That's why I put people through the style reset.
I've been watching Jillian Murphy's progress with you on her stories. And I'm like, that girl needs to donate her extras to me. I'll take her extra shopping.
She's like, mail it on out, Jillian, mail it on out.
I love it. Okay, so my final question for you is, in the midst of building and growing your business, you have a lot of knowledge in the world that you're in. At every level, there's a new devil. What is something that you're challenged with or struggling with right now that you can offer as like an insight to, no matter where you are, we have something to face. And the best part is we always have God's grace.
Always have God's grace. Gosh, I will say, oh gosh, that's a loaded question, Riley, in a good way. I'm like kind of sitting, taking it in. I have carried around imposter syndrome probably in every single area of my life, my whole life, even when I was like at the peak of doing celebrity styling. And to not be carrying that around right now, I'm working through that, through God showing me ways of healing. And then with also, I will be completely, and you chime in on this, because as a Christian woman, I would appreciate what you have to say, but also like, it's okay to have a successful business. It's okay. It's not that I'm going after things from a prosperity gospel way, because that's not what I'm about. But I have been really feeling, and probably the enemy is doing this, that like setting my goal and then it feeling high, and then I'm like be materialistic. And I always pray over God that his will is going through mine. But I do really struggle with that, because I don't know if that is Satan's or my own self-doubt, which obviously doesn't come from the Lord. But I've really struggled with that. That's probably my biggest struggle, is really owning that target that I have, but then not feeling like I'm falling into the world of being does that make sense?
It does. And actually, it's really interesting that you bring that up, because I was into all things new age. And just when I got to the point where I was like, I can make $1 million, I came to Jesus and I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to make any money. I'm supposed to be homeless on the streets. Like, oh, damned is me who wants to create a better life. And my husband corrects me with this often, because I'm like, I want to create generational wealth for my children so that they can go on, and whether that's in land, but also financially stable, so they don't have to go through things like COVID and be like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do with our lives, or whatever that looks like in the future. But then he goes, remember God's will, like that stuff will get taken care of if it's meant for you. And I'm like, I struggle with that too. It's like, where's the line between I get to still desire things and be in alignment with, hey, I'm always open to God's will. And for me, what I've come to at this point is that, I am very much welcome to desire things, as long as I always understand that, one, don't get attached to it. Two, right, always stay consistent with prayer and just like, okay, this is what I want, but I'm open to what you have planned for me. And then three, just continuing to grow and build on my business, what I'm helping people with, and equally like spreading Jesus in there. And I find that for me at this point, I don't know if it's the right or wrong answer, but that's what helps me to stay grounded in, I get to have these desires. I trust that however they're meant to play out, they will, but that I get to help people come into themselves and into Christ through my work, hopefully, whether that's leading by example or something that I share, or whatever that looks like. And so foundationally, one of my businesses is startup coaching. So helping coaches start up their businesses. And then the other one is all the self-healing stuff. So it's, let's look at the mindset. Let's look at your behaviors. Let's look at your emotions. I partnered with a guy who does holistic clinical testing. So he goes through that component with them as well. And then, of course, biblically spiritual. And so as far as I know, because we were always our own self-limitation, but as long as I'm willing to grow in my faith and continue to do what I know is best at the time, that why can't I be prosperous? And prosperity might not be money right now. It might be, you know, health right now. And just to trust and have faith in the balance of what that looks like. But I can definitely relate to you, because whenever I want to set a monetary goal, I'm like, oh, but who am I to set this goal? And then I go, you know what? It's also an opportunity. The more money I make, the more money I can give. And so I look at it that way too.
Exactly.
So whether that's giving to my church or, you know, I do a fundraiser every year as well, giving more to that. I look at the ways where as my wealth grows, I get to be more generous too.
Yeah, I will say the Lord really helped me understand the you know, wherever your money goes is where actually, like, that's your how to I've heard like 4 pastors say it, and it was amazing. And how I will say tithing and giving, it's so it is so refreshing to the spirit and the mind, and it is just a beautiful thing. And so even with myself, I'm as I'm praying over the Lord's blessing and will over my business from a financial prospect, I know overall I want to really be able to give back into the kingdom. I'm not specific, only yes to my church, but there's also, you know, another sister in Christ in Las Vegas. She's out there on the streets on her Harley, and she literally is saving people and helping, not saving people, Jesus saves people, but like she's ministering and helping people who are sleeping in their cars in the desert, in the heat, and like moms with kids and stuff. And, you know, I just want to send so much money to her because I know it's genuinely actually going to like helping them get off the streets. And so that at least makes me feel a little bit more in alignment, that like, okay, if I like, okay, my business is going to get rewarded, but that's where it's going to go. So it gets God's glory. Yeah. So that's some behind the scenes stuff that I deal with that I've actually never shared. And I appreciate that we're having this conversation, because it has been a battle for me for sure.
Yeah. Ah, what a good conversation. Well, Katie, I'd love for you to plug where everybody can come and find you. And we're going to make it super easy for you guys to go and check out Katie's work, get some styling tips, be a part of her world in the show notes below.
Yes. Come over to my Instagram account. I'm very active over there, or you can also reach out to me on my website at katiewatford.com. But if you want to know where I'm most active, come into Instagram, DM me. I love saying hi to people. I'm a chit chatter and I love talking to people. Riley, you're awesome, honey.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Before you go, I would love and appreciate so much if you could take a moment of your time to leave a 5-star review. It helps me to be able to get this message out to so many more in the world. And I am so truly thankful that you choose this place to be every single week. Until next time, don't forget to find the magic in today.